I thought I'd do a little update. I haven't made much progress on the laying of track. I'm kind of at a standstill right now. I need more turnouts to progress, so I'm on hold with that. But I did have a birthday, and I got some cool stuff for my birthday. So I got this little caboose. I picked up this another HO N3 steam locomotive, same kit as this one. This one's never been built. It's still in the box with all the original paper and everything. So this kit I'm going to build. I got myself an HON3 gauge for checking clearances. I picked up this Campbell mine model. And I also picked up this little combine coach. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, what else have I done? I did some scenery work on the gorge. Let's walk around over here. So I have this big gorge, and it's going to have a curved trestle going from this point to that point. But you can see I've done some foam work, and then I'm gonna, I'll coat it, add some castings and whatnot. And this is just what the foam I had left. I'm out of foam now, so I'll probably be using cardboard strips and paper towel dipped plaster stuff to do the rest of the scenery on the layout. It's a little bit of a mess, the stuff here. Let me step up so you can see the whole, kind of see the whole layout here from bird's eye view. And I also did find out that this layout was drawn, it was in Railroad Modeler Craftsman. I think that's the name of the publication. Someone commented and said, oh, that was done by Bill Barron. He used to draw layout plans and they would be in Railroad Model Craftsman. But this is the image I found. I was Googling 4x8 layouts, and this one popped up, and I really, really liked it. Of course, I've changed it. This one is set up for like 18-inch radius. It's originally 5x8. My board was already 5x10, and I increased it to 6x10 so that I could get 24-inch minimum radius everywhere on the layout. So this is my updated plan. I mean, I'd say 90% is the same. Now, I did change the yard, and I put in a 3-stall roundhouse. I mean, obviously easy enough to do because my layout is actually 2 feet longer than this one. Also, someone pointed out that the yard, when a locomotive comes into the yard with a freight train on this one, basically, how does the locomotive get out? So I changed it so the locomotive can come in and then go down into this point right here and back out and then get to the service facility. What else? I think pretty much, this siding here, I didn't put in the part that goes up this direction. I left that one out. You can see it. It's right there. And I'm also not, this is I guess a mill, and this is a big pond. I'm not doing that on mine. I'm just going to put in a town, small town. Of course, there'll be mines and whatnot, both these spurs, and there'll be a mountain here just like the other one. Of course, there's a big gorge that's here, whereas this one is not. And then I have these other corners I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet when it comes to industry or scenery or whatever. But that is what I'm doing with this is my version of that layout. I think it's going to be nice to run and operate. It'll just be me, not anybody else. So, and I'm gonna buy a handheld DC throttle. I'll probably mention that before, but yeah, I think it'll be a nice simple thing to do. But I am selling off. I have a haunted house and a huge yard display I would do for Halloween every year, and I'm kind of done with it. I think I'm not getting any younger, and it's very labor intensive to set this whole thing up, and hundreds of people come to the house, and I've kind of reached a point where I'm like, I can't. I don't think from a physical standpoint I can really do it anymore. I'm in my mid 50s now. I mean, I'm not, decrepit or anything. I still exercise on occasion and can do some things, but that particular hobby is really labor intensive. Plus, it's become majorly expensive to maintain it because this stuff goes out in my front yard and then it sits on the weather, and you have to work on it, replace it, and I just can't afford to maintain a haunted house anymore. So I'm going to sell that, and I'm going to take the money, and I should, if I've calculated right, and I've done lots of searches looking for track and pricing, I can get all the remainder. I think I need a dozen more turnouts and about a dozen more pieces of flex track, and I can finish out all my track work. So that'll be nice. I still need to pick up a turntable, and I've settled on, I'm going to get the Atlas turntable. I'm going to cut out this Homasote right here, and I'm thinking I might actually cut out the plywood beneath it and then set another piece of plywood beneath that so that the turntable sits in a pit. I understand that it's basically the whole surface rotates, but I'm going to do like Malcolm Furlow. I'm going to glue a piece of HON3 to the top of it, solder those rails that are already in the turntable, but it'll still sit in a pit, and I'll do like an A-frame on it, and that'll be my turntable. I don't really I've had a diamond scale turntable for it, and yeah, sure, it was amazing looking and everything, but I'm just really going for simple, just simple. I even looked at there's a laser kit guy that has one or two that are narrow gauge, and I'm like, I just really don't feel like taking on that on. I want something, just pop it into place and kind of run with it. Of course, my roundhouse is going to go here. But yeah, that's what's going on. I can't remember in the last video if I'd already had this stuff Homasote painted or not. But yeah, I sanded my Homasote and painted it and started laying track. I think I probably mentioned that. I do have a ton of caboose throws. It's in that little box just there by the paint can. And I do need to mount those on, because I do have some turnouts that I can get those set up and get those going. Of course, there's little things like, adding in ties where connections are, and then drops and stuff to fill in so it looks nice and clean. But that's kind of where I am. It's not like I'm lacking in projects, obviously, since I have this Campbell kit to build now, and I'm working on this caboose right now. It's on my workbench, and I'm putting it together. Of course, I have this locomotive, which definitely no rush. Going to take my time so that it goes together, and I want to run just as well. This one runs really nice. Of course, I found a website that carries all the extra parts and pieces that go to this, and I want to put some more detailing on it. Of course, the tender needs to be painted, and I'm sort of thinking about getting into airbrushing, so there's that too. I want to get another one of these locomotives. I want to have 3, and then I want a Galloping Goose, and I think that'll be my stable of locomotives. But yeah, not much going on. But maybe here in another month or so, there'll be more track laid down. I'd like to at least get. My goal is, once I get that track in, I can get some turnout, get the rest of the turnouts that connect all the main line together, and I can at least get the main line all situated and set so I can just run trains around. So that'll be nice. I mean, I do have a lot of bridges to build, which I won't need kits for those. I was building bridges for my O gauge layout, and I can just cut that lumber out of 2x4s on my table saw. But yeah, I was just going to do, standard wood. This will be a simple wood truss. This will be a, um, timber truss, curved bridge. This is actually be a through truss. Probably another through truss here, and of course then I've got two spots. There's big gaps there. I'll probably, again, more trusses and trestles. I'm not doing any steel plate bridges or anything like that. It's all going to be wood, and I can build all those easily. Pretty simple to make. Set myself up a jig and whatnot, and just throw that together. And of course, scenery work and whatnot. But I think it's going to be a nice little layout. Also, it rolls, so when I store it, I just shove it up against the wall there, and it's got wheels and everything. So, and it's in the main bedroom of the house, so it's nice. It's not hot or cold like the old gauge layout was out in the garage. But there's small things. I need to make little control panels because I plan to just fix it so all my sidings and stuff have on and off switches so they can get power. That's my way of handling power distribution on the layout. Just simple, I guess, block wiring, so to speak. Of course, then, this is a reverse loop here, so it'll have its own little special switch. And I'll probably, honestly, I'm just going to grab that little Atlas reverse switch thing and just use that. Again, simple. This layout will never be digital command control. I have no interest in messing with that stuff. I did it before, and it's neat, but I just don't foresee this layout needing multiple locomotives running at the same time and everything. But yeah, that's where I am with this whole project. So hopefully in a couple of months there'll be a lot more progress. So yeah, I hope everyone's enjoying their summer and their trains and whatnot. So yeah, that's me signing off.